Hello everyone. The bacteria are unicellular organisms or monorems who are capable of performing all the metabolic functions within just one cell. So, for the performance of metabolic activities like respiration, excretion, digestion, it requires a lot of energy. That energy requirement is fulfilled only by respiration, and as an end product of respiration there will be presence or there will be release of energy molecules which can be used in order to facilitate the process of diffusion in the body of the bacterium and performing most of the metabolic activities. So they are classified on the basis of their respiration, and there are various categories for them. First is aerobic bacteria. It means they are obligate aerobes. They completely depend on presence of oxygen for their growth. If there is presence of if there is absence of oxygen, then these bacterium they will not at all grow or they will die. One of the example is pseudomonas. Next category is of anaerobic bacteria who can survive only in absence of oxygen. So they are very specific. If there is presence of even trace amount of oxygen, then it can cause death of these bacterium. One of the example is clostridium. Facultative anaerobes are capable of surviving in absence of oxygen as well as in presence of oxygen, but they grow much better if there is presence of oxygen. They will not die if there is absence of oxygen, but if there is presence of oxygen they can grow much better. And the example is E. coli or enterococcus. There is another category which is aerotolerant anaerobes, and they grow equally well in presence or in absence of oxygen. So oxygen never limits the growth of the bacterium. They can perform equally well in the presence or in the absence of oxygen. Example is streptococcus pyogenes. Another category is of microaerophile. They require oxygen levels below 10% for their optimal growth. If the oxygen level rises above 10%, then the growth of the bacterium is decreased, or the metabolic activity or rate of metabolism is hampered. Example is Treponema pallidum. All the microorganisms they can be classified in either of these five categories, and with this categorization we can have an idea that how diverse is the range for the microorganisms for their survival, and or for the bacterium for their survival, because they can be found in extremist of climatic condition where aerobic condition is there, or in similarly extreme climatic condition where there is absence of oxygen, and in both the cases there is a chance of survival, and that too at a very good degree. Next classification of bacteria is based on the certain features. So let's see the features about the bacterium at first. One of the feature is presence of mesosome. Mesosome is a specialized infolding present in the gram positive bacterium. So let me show you the structure. If this is a bacterium having a cell wall and slime layer and everything within it, this kind of infoldings develop in the bacterium, and they are spherical or villiform structures. They are just infoldings, they are not any structures, and they just form a compartment. And as soon as cell division occurs, at that time these mesosomes they play a very intrinsic role in it. They release some intracellular substances which help in forming a bridge from both the ends and separating the entire cell of the bacterium into two equal halves. And while the separation is taking place, they also take care of the fact that equal amount of genetic material gets distributed, or equal amount of nucleoid differentiation occurs when the division is taking place. So what are mesosomes? They are villiform spherical structures or finger like projections in the cell wall of the mesosome, which help in cell division and proper distribution of nuclear material or nucleoid during the cell division in a bacterium. Next structure is the presence of a pili or pili. Pili is just a hair like growth which is seen in the bacterium, and these straight hair like growths, they are made up of pillin. It is a protein, and it is helically hollow. So this pili which you can see, the area which is vacant is actually vacant and it has a hollow core, and this helps in formation of sex pili when the sexual reproduction occurs in the bacterium. Most of the times this pili is present in the gram negative bacteria. Mesosome was present in the gram positive bacteria, whereas pili pili, the spelling for pili is pili. It is also known as sex pili, and this is present in the gram negative bacteria. Another name for sex pili is fimbriae. Other than these two things, there is one more structure which is very important. Nucleoid, you all are aware of. If we think about a bacterial cell, then inside the bacterial cell there is presence of the genetic material as is suspended within the center. This is the normal nucleoid, but other than this also, some of the bacterium, they have presence of extra chromosomal material or extra, yes, it is extra chromosomal material which is known as plasmid. Plasmid are capable of transmitting certain factors, extra chromosomal material or plasmid or second nucleus you can say, and this has certain factors within it. One is F factor which is known as fertility factor. Another factor is resistance factor. Some of the bacterium, they do not show any response towards a particular medicine, and that is because of the resistance. And this is generated, or this can be transmitted from one bacterium to another with the help of sex pilus being formed. And the next thing is about the nitrogen fixing genes. Only some of the bacterium, they are capable of performing nitrogen fixation, and this nitrogen fixation gene can be transferred if there is little transfer of this plasmid from one bacterium to another bacterium. So with the help of these three structures, most of the sexual reproduction occurs in the bacterium. But let's start with the reproduction in bacterium as a whole. So whenever we think about bacterial reproduction, again it is of two types, asexual and sexual type. In the asexual reproduction, we see that there are three categories. One is binary fission, in which we will be discussing in details. Another three types are there. The first type of asexual reproduction is, which we should discuss, is budding. Budding is a process in which one of the bacterial cell, it will just form a small outgrowth, and as the outgrowth is formed, the genetic material, the nucleoid from the parental body, will be transmitted to the small bacterial outgrowth which is just growing outside the parental body. As soon as this bacterial outgrowth tends to increase in size, then there is just a lysis or a separation which occurs between the parental and the new formed bacterial cell, and two separate bacterial cells can be formed. One will be definitely smaller than the parental cell, but as the time proceeds, the nucleoplasm as well as the cytoplasm will tend to increase in its quantity, and it will become much more larger. The next category of asexual reproduction which we should discuss is sporulation. In sporulation, most of the times or generally, sporulation occurs only in presence of unfavorable conditions. One of the bacterium which is intending to undergo division or binary fission, it just forms a cyst around its body or outer covering. cell wall, outer to the cell wall, there is cyst formation, and the entire nuclear matter or the nucleoid of the bacterium, it splits to form several small circular globules, and each of the globule contains little amount of cytoplasm and little amount of genetic material. As soon as the favorable conditions will arise, these cysts will break off or split half in order to release all the small bacterium which are held within it. And as a result, we will see the formation of several new bacterium just in one go once the favorable condition arises. Next category which we should discuss is the conidia formation. Conidia Conidia formation means, or it is a kind of condition which is seen basically in the fungus. So mycelia, you all have an idea about the kind of shape of a particular kind of bacteria. So mycelial bacteria, they undergo this kind of asexual reproduction. So just the bacterium is there, and the bacterium will divide itself into 8 number of ascospores or conidiospores, we can also call it. Two more I should make. 8 number of conidiospores which are present in or arranged in a array, linear array, and each of the conidia will be capable of releasing these spores as soon as the favorable condition arises. These are three of the categories of asexual reproduction, but the one which we are going to discuss in details is the binary fission. In binary fission, we see that the favorable conditions are the most important things in or important condition for binary fission to occur. So first of all, the nuclear body will divide into two nuclear bodies, and then the cytoplasm also splits off with the help of mesosome. Mesosome are finger like projections which are present in the cell wall, and with the form or deepening of these finger like projections, two separate half of the genetic material as well as the cytoplasmic content takes place, and as a result, two different bacterium are finally formed. Next is about the sexual reproduction of the bacteria. In sexual reproduction, the first category which we discussed is conjugation. Here in bacterium, few things are to be kept in mind. One thing is about a donor. Donor will have the presence of the factors like the F factor, R factor, or the NIF genes which we have discussed about. And donor will always be a male having either of these factors. The factors can be represented by just a plus sign. So F plus, R plus, or NIF plus factor means that the donor or male is having either the fertility factor or the resistance factor or the NIF genes, which it will be transmitting to the female or the recipient bacterium. Let's see how does conjugation occurs. It is a process in which genetic information from one bacteria is transferred to another bacteria by the formation of conjugation bridge, and the bacterium who is in direct contact with the another bacterium, it helps in formation of cytoplasmic bridge. This cytoplasmic bridge helps in transmission of the factors from the donor to the recipient genome. And when this transfer is occurring, donor is known as a male whereas the recipient is a female. Let's see how does it actually occurs. You can see that this is a F plus cell. A F plus cell will be transmitting the character to a F minus cell, or a cell which is lacking it, or a bacterial cell lacking it. Conjugation pilus is formed in between both these bacterium. As soon as this bacterium has the presence of this conjugation pilus formed, then small amount of plasmid, this is the extra chromosomal material or the plasmid, which is present in only the F plus cell, not in the F minus cell. From the F plus cell, that small amount of genetic material will be transferred to the F minus cell, and as a result, this F minus cell will also become F plus cell at the end. So fertility factor has been transferred from one of the bacterium, from the first bacterium to the second bacterium, and now first and second, both the bacterium, they are donors, and they can transmit the fertility factor from one bacterium, from themselves to any other bacterium. Bridge formation, cytoplasmic bridge formation is very important, so remember about it for bacterial conjugation. Next is about the transformation. Transformation is a mechanism of genetic transfer between bacteria. In this, the donor DNA is cell free. It means when we are transmitting or using the transformation technique to occur, that time we take two bacterium for sure, but one of the bacterium is alive and has the nucleoid present or suspended over it, whereas the another bacterium which we whose genetic material we want to introduce to this bacterium, we just kill that bacterium and take out its nucleoid. Once the nucleoid is taken out, then after we we allow it to be monitored or acted upon by some lysing enzymes, or you can say molecular scissors. These molecular scissors cut this bacterial DNA into small portions or small genetic material or small fragments. So think these small fragments are formed. These small fragments are introduced into the bacterial cell with the help of shotgun method or plasma membrane cesium. If you treat the plasma membrane of a bacterial cell with cesium chloride, then it becomes permeable and just the movement of outside content takes place within the cell, and it can cause some transformation. If this genetic material gets incorporated within the genetic matter, then the transformation will occur of the genetic combination or genetic material of the bacterium to which this genetic material is introduced, and as a result, at times certain toxicity can also be transmitted from one strain to another. Suppose two bacterium are there, one is having the disease or which is disease causing or is virulent, whereas another bacterium is non-virulent. Suppose I'm taking the example of myself. If I am infected by a non-virulent bacterium and suddenly the DNA fragments of a virulent bacterium enters my body somehow and it is introduced to my cell, then my cell may take up this genetic material, and that bacterium which is non-virulent, which is present in my body, may become virulent because of transformation, as it has been incorporated by the virulent bacterial DNA. I hope it will be easier for you to understand if you can just rethink what I have said. So the DNA can be naturally released into the environment, which we saw. And how does it take place? It takes place by lysis. We break the outer cell and take out the nucleoid, cut the nucleoid into small portions, and that dsDNA is integrated into the chromosome by homologous recombination. These recipient cells that undergo this process can acquire a new phenotype. As a result, a non-virulent DNA bacterium which is present within an individual may become virulent by getting infected or by getting incorporated with the fragments of virulent bacterial DNA. You can see the example over here or a diagram. This is a virulent bacteria, bacterial DNA. Okay, virulent, it means viral, disease containing or disease causing bacterial. This is a non-virulent bacteria. Now, as soon as this virulent bacterial content or fragment, viral DNA fragment gets incorporated, here it is getting incorporated, you can see integration by homologous recombination, stable transformation. If stable transformation occurs in someone's body, then there will be expression of the disease. Whereas if it gets degraded, then there will be no as such expression of the bacterial characteristic or bacterial disease in the individual. So this is just about transformation. Transformation means conversion of a non-virulent bacterium into a virulent bacterium just by addition of some genetic material from the virulent bacterium to the non-virulent one. And how this transformation, or how do we introduce this DNA fragment from one bacterium to another? We do it by just adding or just incorporating it with the help of heavy metals. We will add this DNA fragment with heavy metal, and with the help of shotgun or micropropagation, micropipettes are there, with the help of which we can just introduce it directly to the bacterial cell. The next category of sexual reproduction is transduction. In transduction, a bacteriophage infects a bacterium. Now, what is a bacteriophage? It is a virus which causes disease to a bacterium. This is a plasmid, or not a plasmid, I should say it's a capsid. This is a capsid made up of protein. There is presence of a collar, a structure of a bacteriophage I'm just trying to make, and it has presence of few legs. It looks like transformer, but some machine kind of structure is there, but still you can think that the genetic material can be incorporated into any of the bacterial or any of the bacterium by just getting, if this is a bacterium, suppose I have just made a bacterium over here, and on the bacterium, if we want to transmit this genetic material, just the collar will release the genetic material and somehow it will get incorporated within the body of the next bacterium. And as the bacterium transmits, or the bacteriophage transmits its genetic material to the bacterium, then the bacterial DNA will be hijacked by the bacteriophage's DNA. And how does it occur? You can see this diagram. You can see the bacteriophage over here. The bacteriophage has attached its collar to the bacterial cell. As soon as it gets attached to the bacterial cells, then it releases its genetic material. You can see this is the genetic material of the bacterial, of the bacteriophage, and it has introduced it into the bacteria's genetic material. It gets incorporated. The bacterial DNA will allow the addition of the bacteriophage's DNA within it, and because of this, the invasion or the kidnapping of the genetic material of the bacteria will take place, and as a result, the bacterial DNA will be instructed to form only the genetic material or the required substances in order to form the bacteriophage's DNA. And not only the bacteriophage's DNA, the entire structure of the bacteriophage. This is what has happened: breakup of host DNA and synthesis of phage's DNA. As the phage's DNA is synthesized, phage's head and tails are formed by the bacterium. As because it is hijacked, now it is not at all performing for itself, it is performing only for the sake of the bacteriophage. And once the synthesis of all the heads and tails are done in the in one of the bacterial cell, then the phage will be formed, and as a result the entire cell will burst off in order to release the bacteriophages in the environment. And the phages will be capable of infecting all the another bacteriophages, not the bacteriophages, all the another bacteria which are in the surrounding, or any other cell which is in the surrounding. And this incorporation of former host DNA to the new host DNA will go on several times. The way this COVID is attacking all of us, it is attacking in the similar way. It is by the lysogenic cycle of the bacterium. It is all temperature dependent most of the time. Sometimes it is non-lysogenic as well. But these viral viruses or bacterial viruses are the ones. Bacteriophage is a bacterial virus, and it is capable of transmitting the disease from one bacterium to another. So this is all about the sexual reproduction and respiration of the bacterium, and how they are classified on the basis of both these categories.